Speaking about studs, Matt Moscona, after further review, world traveler, bourbon connoisseur, and a man that once figured out magic and then sadly forgot. Moscona, what's up, my friend?
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you all.
Yes. Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. I mean, I know it's obviously with LSU having played Purdue the other day. It's winding down a little bit. Psych, just kidding. We have the transfer portal and recruiting. It never ends. But I got to start, all right? I got to start with what a lot of people have been talking about. You know me, this isn't TMZ. I'm not out here trying to, Sherlock Holmes or Nancy Drew or Hardy Boys this thing at all. But do you think the rumors about the so-called, we're going to call it a togetherness party. That's what I'm going to call it. A party where people come together to do adult things. How about that? That good, David?
That's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it, all right? Everybody's just together. Do you think that's true what happened with Kayshon Boutte and the, recruiting director and then a couple coaches? What are you hearing on this situation?
So I had kind of heard that a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, guys, it doesn't matter what I think. And I'm not going to cop out. I'll answer the question. But I think what happened with that, and I said this on my show yesterday, I don't even like talking about it because there's people right now who have no idea what you're talking about. Now they're going to go Google it. And even though I would admit to you that, or acknowledge it's completely plausible, right? I mean, that adult people would do adult things. There is no chance ever that any of the people alleged to have been involved will ever talk on the record about what is alleged to have happened.
Yeah.
So it's nothing but internet rumor and hearsay, and that's all it will ever be. So no credible media outlet is ever going to report that as news. Brian Kelly was asked in an indirect way about his staff, and he said everyone is in good standing. He was very adamant about that. And quite honestly, guys, there is a university code of conduct whereby if a student is engaging in an inappropriate relationship with a university employee, then that employee must be dismissed. Well, I mean, there's 3 people alleged to have been involved that are still working in the football department right now. So draw your own conclusions. But that's a very indirect way of not answering your question.
Well, no, Matt. I mean,
here's the thing, though, Jake. Like, here's the thing. It's like, is it plausible? Sure. But if nothing happened and it is nothing but an internet rumor from a nameless, faceless person, then you are potentially, not you, I'm just saying we collectively, are smearing people with families for nothing, based on a baseless accusation from an anonymous person on the internet. Like, that's, I have a hard problem just getting to the point where I'm just going to say, yes, crucify them all.
No, and I'm with you. I'm innocent till proven guilty in every situation. And I don't think it's a coincidence that LSU had a lot of success and this came out at a time to try and hinder what Brian Kelly has done. Because look, let's be honest, if this did take place during the SEC championship game or leading up to that, somebody be fired by now. Like, this isn't something that takes 6 months to investigate. I mean, especially where it was and when it was. So look, we all see crazy stuff on the internet. We see crazy rumors on the internet. I just wanted to ask you, because I know you're a type person that's going to tell us what you actually really think. And I agree with you. I mean, I think you'd be fired by now if you were on that staff.
What a wild thing to make up.
What a wild thing to make up, though.
Wild thing to make up.
It was like, did Dr. Seuss's kid come up with that? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a lot different as dad.
I don't know.
Different turn in his professional life.
I don't know.
Now the suits are messed up.
That's exactly. Cat in a hat. Oh, it's Kayshon Boutte. What's that? But no, Matt, let's talk a little bit about LSU. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was straight off the dome, like I'm in New Orleans. I'm going to stop now. Anyway, Matt, obviously big win against Purdue. I mean, Purdue was basically fighting with a hand and a half tied behind their back, but you still got to go out there and play the game. And it is a springboard. It's more momentum going into next year. 2 questions before I kick it to Cone. 1, what grade would you give Brian Kelly in year 1? And there's no chance that Nussmeier's on that roster next year, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels, the quarterback.
So great for Brian Kelly. He's got to get an A. I mean, you'd have to stop short of saying like A+, because disappointing start against Florida State, and obviously the disappointing finish against Texas A&M. But my goodness, guys, let's not forget, last 2 years, this team was 2 games under 500, and they were a disaster. All the attrition on the roster, guys, I mean, do we remember Ed Ogeron taking pictures in bed with women? And
yeah, Matt, he told some person who impersonated me during a call-in show that he was going to kill me in a hole in New Orleans.
That did happen.
So yes, Matt, I remember Ed Ogeron.
Let's not forget the state of the program that Brian Kelly inherited. And in year one, to win 10 games, to beat Alabama, to beat Auburn and Florida on the road, to beat Ole Miss the way that they did, to win a bowl game. Yeah, man. I mean, it's an unmitigated success. They have room to go. Of course they do. But just a huge success. Now, as far as Nussmeier, guys, I don't know that I'll put you this way, Jake. I don't think all three of the scholarship quarterbacks currently on the roster will be on the roster in the fall. Now, if that's Garrett, if that's Walker Howard, I don't know. Because remember, Walker Howard came in here as a 5-star and with the understanding that he was going to sit for a year. And he was okay with that. I don't know if he's okay sitting for 2 years. So how this spring plays out, I believe Brian Kelly, when he said all three quarterbacks are going to be there in the spring. But how the spring plays out, I think, is going to be pretty fascinating to watch. But I don't have any inside info. Like I can't break any news or anything like that. But I'm just looking at, as far as just the circumstantial evidence of college football, dudes don't stay, especially at that position. So sure, I mean, I think one or two of them could be gone by the start of next season.
Yeah, and look, Nuss has served his time. I mean, Nuss, it's not like he just got there and he's leaving. He's given it a shot. It's a great situation for LSU to be in. You had the transfer quarterback come in and play even better than what you thought. That's just the nature of college football, like you said, Matt.
Yeah. Well, Matt, oftentimes the difference between success and failure is expectations, right? I mean, like you said, this program a season ago was reeling. Ed Orgeron wrapped up in different scandals, and we were talking about players leaving and transferring out, like Max Johnson going to Texas A&M. Now Brian Kelly comes in year one. It really has been phenomenal what they've been able to accomplish here. 63-7 win in the bowl game. I mean, this is not a great Purdue team, and they didn't have their best player in Aiden O'Connell, but 63-7. So entering next season, what do you think the expectations will be for LSU?
And Cohn, it's also important to note, man, Aiden O'Connell didn't play defense. I mean, Charlie Jones, the receiver, didn't play defense. I mean, LSU's offense was incredible in the game. And I'll also remind you, LSU defensively, the thinnest position they had was the defensive line, and 3 defensive line starters opted out. So LSU was without at least 7 starters in that game as well. So they were limited and still put up that performance. So, Cohn, expectations for next year, guys, I don't know if y'all agree with this. I said this on my show yesterday. I think LSU's favored to win the West. When we go to Atlanta,
I don't think that's crazy.
Keep in mind, Bama's got to replace Bryce Young. Okay, and look, I get it, man. They've gone from Jalen Hurts to Tua to Bryce Young. Like, they don't seem to have a problem. But we also saw Jalen Milroe this year, and I don't know that I believe he's the guy right now that's going to get Alabama over that hump. You look at the rest of the West, I don't think A&M's ready to challenge. Respect to Will Rogers, I don't think he's ready to challenge. Ole Miss, I don't even know if Jackson Dart's going to be back. There's rumors about Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State coming in there. Arkansas is coming off a 500 football season. I don't know. You look at LSU, they're going to return everything on offense, and most of the defense is back. Matt House has proven to be a really good defensive coordinator. You have to go to Bama, but you get Auburn, Florida, Texas A&M, Arkansas, all in Baton Rouge, and your rotating East Divisional is Missouri next year. So, it kind of sets up to say we're going to be there in Nashville, guys, at SEC Media Days going, I think they're probably going to pick LSU to win the West.
I wouldn't be shocked. My only question is, and I know they scheduled this years before, why in God's sweet name would you schedule Army in between Auburn and Alabama? I have 4 rules for non-conference scheduling. Rule number 1, never ever schedule a triple option team. I don't care if they're playing with females. Don't do it. I don't schedule triple option teams and talking about non-conference or teams that are based at a place off of religion like BYU. Nobody fights harder for longer than people that are scared about protecting their country or where they're going in the afterlife. But putting that between Auburn and Bama, I mean, goodness, if I'm Brian Kelly, I'm not excited about that.
Well, keep in mind the SEC schedule had not been set, right, whenever they scheduled the Army game. So that was scheduled years in advance, and there's been a weird rotation of the SEC schedule now. Like LSU is going to play 3 conference games in September, which is weird. But Jake, I completely agree with you as far as, first of all, if you are going to put Army on your schedule, do it in week 1 when you have a month to prepare for that, not in the middle of your schedule. So yes, that is mildly terrifying, but that's also not a conference game. So, and then you'd get a week off before the Bama game. But they are going to open up in, I think the opener next year.
It's the best game on the slate, week 1.
That's going to be a top 10 matchup, right?
Yeah. No, maybe a top, maybe even, it may be top 7. I'm telling you right now, Matt, I think the winner of this game bought a game of insurance because I think Florida State's going to win the ACC. If Florida beats LSU, they may not lose. Florida State
match of the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's that matchup. I cannot wait. Jordan Travis versus Jaden Daniels. Sign me up.
Both teams won 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams get their senior quarterbacks returning for an additional year.
Mm-hmm.
Returning a lot of like upward trajectory. That's, yeah, man. So, by the way, both teams played their bowl game in Camping World Stadium. Florida State won the Cheez-It Bowl and LSU won the Citrus Bowl in the same stadium, and they're going to open next year in that same stadium. So there's a lot of weird synergies for that game next year.
It's the Matrix.
Can't make that up, man.
All right, let's go to Kayshon Marine. First of all, Matt, Happy New Year, brother. Hope you had a great Christmas. The beard's looking phenomenal, as always. How long, we got Kayshon Marine here. He wants to know, Matt, how long until Brian Kelly has to replace the special teams coach?
Ooh, pull in.
That has been a very popular question around here. The special teams were objectively awful this year. It's not just, and guys, it's not just like, well, you didn't have a kicker that can make a field goal, because you can fix that in recruiting. It was every part of every special teams unit, from the opener when you saw to field goal and PAT get blocked, to penalties on every coverage unit, to the inability to have anybody that could field a punt or a kickoff. It was almost a comedy of errors every single game and every phase all year long. But Brian Polian is the first coach that Brian Kelly hired when he got this job. So he is sort of like at the hand of the king, so to speak. I don't think Brian Polian's going anywhere. Now, do they reassign him somewhere in the staff? Maybe, but that is, they were objectively bad in the third phase this year, all season. And I think it's a tough call for Brian Kelly, because I think he's going to be loyal to his guy, and Brian Polian's going to be back.
Yeah, and it seems to me Brian Polian as special teams coordinator for 6 years, 3 at the Division I level. Sometimes you have to simplify things. I feel like Brian Polian is a guy that goes in there with 900,000 drills for 900,000 different scenarios. Sometimes you just got to simplify it. Special teams is nothing. Kickoff and kickoff return is nothing but a run play from a longer distance. Simplify it. Make it easier. You have talent. LSU should be one of the best teams on special teams ever. Yeah. I mean, even the guys that aren't playing have NFL ability and speed and things like that. When I think of LSU, I still think of dominant special teams, Honey Badger, Patrick Peterson, guys like that. So it's something they do have to fix. But Matt, man, we really appreciate you joining us. Tell everybody where they can find your work.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much, man. If you can spell my name, you can find me. It's Moscona. Afternoons on ESPN Radio throughout Louisiana. I'm on every social media channel. Just spell my name and you can find me.
Definitely, Matt. Appreciate you, my friend. Hey, YouTube, what's up? Make sure you subscribe, share this video as well, hit that like button, and turn on that bell for notifications. Because if you do, your team's going to win the championship this year.